I am pleased to welcome to the 2025 edition of Statehouse Conversations, Democratic Representative Chris Campbell of West Lafayette, District 26, right?
Yes.
For those who pay attention to the fine points. You have developed a reputation in your time here for focusing on family issues that sort of begins with family, ends with family, and that, not surprisingly, is the focus that you're pursuing this session. Talk about that.
Well, I have several bills, a couple foster kid bills, family protecting their transgender kids, and suicide prevention bills. We can talk about
Sure. I mean,
those.
dive in.
My bank account for foster children was brought to me by a former foster child themselves. One of the issues for kids that may want to have a bank account, maybe they're doing a job, is they need an adult on that bank account. And one of the issues is that adult is sometimes the biological parent or the foster parent, and unfortunately sometimes they do take money out of the account without the child's permission. So this would create a way
under current statute,
yes,
there's no way to stop it, right?
Yeah, and then with the new diplomas, it is likely that more kids are going to be working. So being able to have a way for them to be able to have a bank account without that requirement, and be able to have access to their own money would be great for them.
And again, for those that may not be familiar, these are the diplomas that you and your colleagues ordered up in 2023, and now the Board of Education is putting the finishing touches on them, designed to give people more practical experience regardless of their chosen field. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes. Yeah. Well,
you're on a roll. Let's hear more about the family issues.
Okay. So suicide prevention materials. Bullying continues to be an enormous problem in our schools, and unfortunately, sometimes we find situations where a child has been bullied, ends up committing suicide, or sometimes even shootings. So this would require that if a child's bullied, that the school contact the parents and not only give that suicide prevention material information, but also talk about safe gun storage to help protect that child, because that is one of the leading causes of death in young people under the age of 25, I believe, is actually suicides by firearms. So.
And we've seen increasingly in recent years the push to have teachers monitoring other aspects of children's lives, and whether it's pronoun usage or mental health issues. This is simply saying, for those who would say that's not a good idea, you'd say this is something you've called for, which is empowering parents to have the knowledge to know about their children. In this case, it's mental health issues or depression.
Yes,
fair?
Absolutely. And then my next bill addresses the transgender ban for minors that was recently passed. And all this does is take out the aid and abet language for doctors. It's really important that a doctor know, if a child is receiving care outside of the state, that may impact that child's overall health. So that ability to communicate not only with the child and the family, but those doctors that may be providing care outside of state. If a child's has diabetes, for example, any use of hormone usage is going to impact their blood sugars. So being able to have that information, communicate, make sure that child stays healthy is important.
Because under current law, that physician would run afoul of the law if he or she simply so much as asked anything about blood levels or knew a specialist and could refer somebody.
They can't have any discussion about any transgender care with that minor. And then, what was my other one that I really wanted to talk about? Cytomegalovirus. I always wanted, that's my PSA for the year is this cytomegalovirus, or CMV for short, is the leading infectious cause of birth defects in children. It is the leading cause of hearing loss in children. It can cause blindness. It can cause seizures. It can cause enormous birth defects. And it actually occurs in 1 in 200 births, which is extremely high. We definitely test for things like Down syndrome in parents that may be at risk.
And this would be testing, or would
so this does not do anything, but it increases information about cytomegalovirus. Giving
Which is a good thing, because I must admit I'm probably in that group of people who aren't as familiar with it as I should be.
Absolutely. It occurs more often than Down syndrome, but we're not doing anything to actually address this in the state. So it gets information in our local health departments, trying to get it to places like daycare centers where you're working with young children, because the leading cause is you catch this virus. It's just like any other virus. And if you catch that virus while you're pregnant, especially in that first trimester, it could go to the child, the unborn fetus, and cause these terrible birth defects. So making sure that a parent is not sharing food, especially in that first trimester of pregnancy, and making sure they're washing their hands when they're changing diapers, because you get it from bodily fluids from that child, and it may not have any symptoms. So you may not know that the child, that your toddler has CMV, and then you could be passing on that to your unborn child.
This is all about empowerment through knowledge.
Absolutely.
So that parents can
Absolutely.
make those decisions. Well, we'll be watching
right.
as the session unfolds to see how these bills progress.
All right.
Chris Campbell, Democratic Representative, West Lafayette, District 26. I thank you for taking time to talk about this session and what we can expect over the next 4 months. And thank you also for your commitment to the state of Indiana and to public service.
All right.
I applaud you.
My pleasure. Thank you.